Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. And as you can see, we have a new horse in the stable. Our good friends at Qidi sent me their new X-Plus 3 to review. They didn't pay me for this video, but they did send me the printer free of charge to let you guys know about my experiences with the printer. The first thing that I want to call out about this printer is it does have an enclosure that we can use for temperature control. That means that we can print with ABS, carbon fiber, ASA, and all the cool filaments that we've been printing with lately. It's also a high-speed printer. It has a slightly bigger build plate than what we're used to, and we don't even have to change the slicer software that we're using today. So, today we'll go ahead and get this unboxed. We'll go ahead and go through the first print, and I'll give you my first initial thoughts and feelings on the Qidi X-Plus 3. So if all that sounds good, then sit back and relax, and I'll get everything ready. All right, and welcome back. We've got it all unboxed here. And this is one of the easier electronic items that I've ever unboxed before. And let me tell you about the process. So you go through a few steps in the manual here, which has nice color pictures and everything in it. Everything's labeled very, very nice. Everything looks good. Everything is very straightforward. But you also get an on-screen display. So you do a couple of steps. I think it's on step 7, but these are very tiny steps. You plug it in, turn it on, and then you follow the rest of the setup from on screen, which I thought was very, very helpful. So not only did you have a nice color picture in the manual, but you had a nice color picture on screen, step by step, showing you all the different things that you had to cut out and all of the different things that you needed to do to take everything apart and put it together as you see, as I have right now. So I will say it took about 20 minutes to get to where I am right now. And then I did a software update as recommended by Qidi Texh themselves, which took another 20 minutes itself. It took about the same amount of time to update it as it did to unbox it. And right now, all I'm doing is another bed leveling, which it looks like it's done. And then I'll do the rest of the calibrations again now that I have the unit updated and everything like that. So all in all, I'm under an hour and ready to go. I need one more calibration and then I'll be ready to go in the slicer. That shouldn't take more than 5 or 10 minutes itself. So I would say you're looking at about an hour to unbox, get it set up. Again, it comes pretty much full together. You just got to kind of take some of the packing material apart and then update it, and get everything calibrated again and everything like that. So it's going to take you about an hour to do that, which isn't bad at all. And again, the instructions were very easy to follow along. Some of the best that I've seen in the... All right, so today I'll talk about 3 different options for slicers that you have. There's more than this, but I only really want to go over 3 for this video that are relevant to the viewers of this channel. So the first one is the Qidi slicer. So this is the one that they make themselves. And you basically go through here and select which printer you want to use, which we have this one here. And basically just go through here. I select all of the filaments. Automatically update and all of that. I don't want to associate all those files with Qidi Slicer. I want to keep those with Orca and with Bambu. We do want to use expert mode, and we'll hit finish. So that loads the basic slicer. And then this is going to be different for between Qidi Slicer and the other two slicers that we'll talk about is actually how to connect these to the slicer on the computer. So before I did this, I did connect the printer to my wireless network, and I do know what the IP address is on my local network of the printer. You will need to do that first before you can connect these. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is go to printer settings and then add physical printer. And then we'll name the device what we want it to be. And then here's where we need to import or input the local IP address of your Qidi printer, and then you're going to hit this test. And then it says connection to Moonraker works correctly. If you don't get that, that means that you've typed the wrong IP address here and you don't have something set up correctly. So we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And then when we click on device, it is printing a job right now. So that we'll see the name of the job. We'll see the status of that job, as well as some different graphs and different things within this software called Fluid. I'm not going to go over everything in this video, but this is the view that you get from Qidi Slicer, and this is important to take note of this view. We'll talk about this view a little bit more. So now let's go into the second slicer that you might want to use with this and how to connect it to that. It's a little bit different. So now, as you can see, we are in Orca Slicer, and you can use Orca Slicer with the Qidi printer. If you go to this printer gear right here and press that and wait a couple of seconds, you'll see that another list of printers show up. So we'll want to scroll down to the Qidi printers. They are one of the printers that are listed in here, as you can see, and we have the X-Plus 3. So we're going to hit that and we're going to hit confirm. So a little weird thing here is it does keep all 8 of these filament rollers. Just keep in mind it's only printing off of this first one right here, and you no longer have the option to change the bed plate. All right, so now if I click on device, it's going to show us that we need to make this connection to it so that we can view it. Okay, so what we're going to do is just click on the little wireless signal right there. All right, so you'll notice if you put in the IP address just like you did before, that we get this error and it says port 80 connection refused. That's because port 80 is the wrong port to use here. And how we change the port that it's using is just simply by putting a colon, and the correct port to use is 10088. And you'll notice that once we put that port in and test, we get that same successful connection. We can hit OK. And now when we go into device, lo and behold, we're right back into Fluid. So once you've gone into the print and you're monitoring the print, the default Qidi software as well as Orca Slicer now uses that same Fluid software. And again, I'm not going to go over this in this video, but maybe in a future video, if we get enough likes on this video, then I will go over all of the different things in Fluid here. This is what this software is called. So now let's move to Bambu Studio. All right, so here we are in the updated Bambu Studio, and as you can see, everything looks fairly the same. And I will say that connecting the Qidi to Bambu Studio is the same process. We're going to hit the little gear. We're going to wait a couple of seconds. You will notice that there's not as many printers loaded in here as there are in Orca Slicer, but our Qidi X-Plus 3 is one of the ones that is listed here. We'll go ahead and hit confirm. We'll go back to device. We'll see the same little video. We'll click on the wireless connection and we'll do the exact same thing with the 10088 port. And we'll go ahead and test that. Working correctly. Hit OK. Go back to device. And we'll see, lo and behold, we have the same fluid software. So for members of my my channel here that may have a Bambu printer and may want to look at this as a second printer like I'm doing, this is where there's going to be a slight difference. With the Qidi slicer, you can't use both printers. With Bambu Studio and with Orca slicer, you can. The difference that I see is it seems that Bambu Studio is better at handling the switch back and forth from the X1. And there's something printing on there as well. So switching back and forth from the X1 to the Qidi seems to be a little bit better from my perspective in Bambu Studio than Orca Slicer. Orca Slicer seems to every once in a while lose one or the other, and you have to basically restart Orca Slicer in order to do it. All right, so what you can see on here is one of our favorite, the honeycomb panel for the honeycomb wall organization system. I wanted to show this just kind of in perspective. This does have a larger build surface, so these do fit on here easily. And this might be a good, thing. What I'm doing right now is printing, several things for the honeycomb wall as well. So after this gets done printing and my final thoughts, I'll show you the quality of these honeycomb pieces so you can see if there's any difference between the Bambu or this one. And as always, we'll do the Nimitz Benchy. It will be in black. I just put it in this color so you can see it a little bit better on here. But we'll also print the Nimitz Benchy on here and see what that looks like as well. But as you can see, using Bambu Studio, you have a lot of the same features that you do on the Qidi with the slicer that you do with, other printers or whatever. So you can do these multiple plates, slice the different ones and everything like that. And you take a look at how long this is going to take. And one cool thing about the Qidi Texh is you can actually move it up to 200%. So you'll see that we're actually printing at 200% here. And this shows the differences between the speeds and everything that it's going through there, which is kind of cool. And same thing, once you start the print, it starts at 100, and then you come in here and move this little slider, or you can type in whatever printer percentage that you want as well, which is kind of cool. So we'll see and prepare for this. Looks like 1 hour and 55 minutes, which is about correct. At 200%, it's just over an hour. The other printer is slightly faster than it. And then we'll do the same thing with the Nimitz Benchy, and that's about 1 hour and a half to do that. So I'll get those two things printed up, and then while we're waiting, we will go to the Qidi Texh website and look at some of the specs and features of the X-Plus 3. All right, so here we are on Qidi Tex's website, and here is the X-Plus 3, of which we have. You will see that it's on sale right now for around $700, which I think is an excellent deal for this. This is a little bit larger format print than what we're used to on this channel, and does open up some capabilities there to print things that we weren't able to print in the past. 12 times printing speed, up to 20,000 millimeters per second squared acceleration, all of that, all of those numbers. It prints pretty doggone fast. I ain't gonna get into the techno babble on all of that, but it prints pretty fast, I will tell you that. temperature controlled chamber. So as we've learned, as we've watched some of the filament videos, is printing things that like carbon fiber, ASA, ABS. You really have to have a controlled environment for it to print so it doesn't warp or it doesn't crack or any of that type of stuff. So having a full chamber like this is really, really good. It's a very, very good thing for it. High precision printing accuracy. We'll look at the print quality. High flow extruder. For the most part, the extruder looks like the extruder that we're used to on this channel, or a similar type of it. It does come with a spare hardened nozzle one for like carbon fiber filaments and stuff. And in a future video, I'll print some of those exotic filaments, and we'll change the nozzle and do all of that. And then it says it's industrial grade, all of this. It uses clipper, temperature controlled chamber. The other thing is on the back side, the filament holder is actually enclosed. It is on the back, and you do put filaments in there, and it does fit different sizes of filaments, which is filament spools, which is a big plus. But it is in an enclosure that has a little box that has, in my final thoughts, I'll show it. It has a desiccant tray in there so that it keeps your filament at the right deal, similar to other printer things. And we'll kind of scroll through all of this. 64-bit processor. Everything is pretty snappy. The touch screen is really good on it. The frame feels very substantial. It's not wiggling around or wobbly or any of that type of stuff. And everything seems to be very high quality from what I've seen. Yeah, and see the little drying box. This is what I'm talking about. This is what you put the filament in, and this snaps on the back. And then there's a little nozzle that the filament comes out, and you put desiccant in there. And again, the chamber heating, layer separation without that, and warping as well is pretty notorious for that. And it does print the Benchy in high quality. I did print this one from the file that it had on there, and this is accurate time without having to do anything but move that dial to 200%. And resonance compensation, it has that type of thing. Printing high performance materials, a PLA mat and different ones like that. This little spool holder. And I imagine since it has a chamber, you'll be able to dry the filament in there. I haven't looked at that. We'll take a look at that when we look at those filaments for it. As you can see, they have a wide range, and I've been doing this for a little while, and just brought out a wide range of these three printers. If you need a even larger print surface, which some of you have mentioned on the channel here, the X Max 3 might be an option that you want to look at. And this is all the stuff that it comes with. Comes with a cool little screwdriver. It comes with a scraper, so you don't even have to print it out, and it's a way better scraper than some that you might have to print out. And we won't go through all of the technobabble here, but you can see all the filaments. That's the big thing here, is all the filaments that you can print with it is a pretty wide variety of them. PA12 carbon fiber, Ultra PA, lots of different ones. All right, so all the prints are finished. We haven't calibrated any filaments or anything like that, but I gotta tell you, the print quality is very, very good on here. So let's wrap everything up. We'll take a look at all of these prints, and then I'll give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the first one that we'll look at is the honeycomb plate. And this turned out very good, nice and straight, no warping, no stringing or anything like that. I compared it to all of the other honeycomb plates that I have, and it is identical to it. And it does print it out almost as fast as the other one over there. So it does print it out very, very fast in high quality. So this turned out really, really good. And then next is we did the Nimitz Benchy. And again, that turned out really good as well. There's a little bit of tuning that I could do on the overhangs there. And maybe in some future videos, we'll do some filament tuning with the Qidi Texh. But that turned out good. And even the little Benchy turned out really, really good. So far, print quality has been pretty good. So that leads us into the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start with the good. So print quality, I just mentioned, seems to be fairly good even in the high-speed prints. I printed all of this stuff at the 200% from the get-go, and I didn't have any hang-ups, and I haven't had any failed prints so far. I'm only about 4 or 5 prints into this thing, but I haven't had any prints fail up to now. And all of the print quality has been good. I said this before in the unboxing, but the unboxing and setup was very easy, very straightforward. The instructions were very easy to follow. The on-screen instructions were very easy to follow, and everything like that. So couldn't be happier with the setup and the ease of use of that. It did take a little while to update the firmware, but that was still easy. Fluid, so the software that you use to monitor it, whether it be in the Qidi slicer, Orca, Bambu, or whatever else connects to that fluid, seems to be pretty cool. There's a lot of cool things that you can see in there, and a lot of things that I could see that you can learn from 3D printing by having access to some of the views that it has in there. So leave a comment below if you'd like me to do a larger video on the fluid software, but that's definitely in the good category as well. The filament holder, instead of just having your filament sitting on the back on a spool, it does have a holder with a desiccant tray, so I think that's pretty awesome as well. And then the last part of the good, which may be the thing that for some of my viewers may point you in the direction of this, is some of you have, you know, not been super happy about the cloud usage of other printer manufacturers, and that, so I can tell you this, all from what I can see, it all does local prints and everything, so you connect to it from a local IP address, and that's how you send prints and everything to it, so you're not sending anything to the cloud. So I think that's a really, really good thing as well, especially if you have prototypes that you don't want out in the public. This is a good place to print where you can still print wirelessly without having to send everything to the cloud. So now let's get to the bad. The first one on the bad list has been on the bad list of pretty much everything that I've reviewed so far, and it's one thing to keep in mind on all of these different makerspace things that you're going to use, is they all have fans and they're all a little bit noisy. So there is a little bit of noise to contend with, and if you have a couple of these going, that fan noise does start to pick up. So that's definitely, not something specific to the Qidi Texh, but that is something specific to most 3D printers, laser engravers, things that you're going to put in your makerspace to make and, to build cool stuff. They're generally going to be some noise with it. Right. Second thing on the bad list is it was a little bit hard to load the filament to get it all the way to the extruder for the first time. I'm sure I'll get used to it over time, but man, that first time was a doozy. So it is one thing to keep in mind and one thing to look out for if you do purchase this, or if you have purchased this and you're looking to put it together. Make sure that you really push the filament all the way into the extruder. So that was one thing. And that really wraps it up for the bad list. And then let's talk about the ugly. And this is really the only drawback that I see for the Qidi device, and that it's not multicolor. So I'm pretty spoiled with having a multicolor printer, and I think that more and more 3D printer companies should do that. And really, that's the only drawback that I see from this printer. Everything else is high quality. It shipped very, very quickly. That came in great packaging, so this thing's not going to be damaged when you get it. I couldn't say more about that. The only drawback that I have is it's not multicolor. But for single color, high quality prints, I think it's definitely a good thing to have. So that's the only ugly thing that I have, is it's not multicolor. So let's wrap everything up. I think if you're looking into the Qidi or any of these Qidi 3D printers, I think you'll be very, very happy with them. Came to me very, very quickly. In great packaging, was easy to set up. The instructions were very straightforward. They didn't leave me hanging in anything. It was very easy to get everything set up. The software update took 20 minutes, and it says right in the thing 20 to 40 minutes, and it was on the lower side of that. So super happy with that. Everything was straightforward. Great to know. Definitely interested in printing more of the Qidi filaments as well, to see how their carbon fiber, especially filaments, are. Um, as far as the downside with it being multicolor, maybe if there's enough likes or enough people, put a comment below, or maybe you reach out to Bill at 3D Chameleon. I already have a multicolor setup, so I don't want to spend very much money on another multicolor setup. But this might be something that we put the 3D Chameleon on and add multicolor capabilities to it. So if that's something that you'd like to see, let me know about that, and I could see about doing that as well. But overall, I think this is a great printer. If you already have a color printer like I do, a multicolor printer, this is a great second printer, high speed, high quality, and it has the enclosure to print things like ASA, ABS, carbon fiber, and those different types of really cool filaments. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'll leave a link in the description on where you can purchase one of these if you would like to. And I thank you for everybody that's liked the video. Thank you for all my subscribers, all of my Patreons, and thank you, Qidi Tech, for sending me this great printer. We'll definitely put it to use, and this won't be the last video that you see with the Qidi Texh X-Plus 3. All right, so you guys have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see everybody next week. Thank you.